Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes a scoreline tells you everything, and sometimes it lies to your face. 6-1, 4-6, 6-2. 3 sets at Sobeys Stadium in Toronto, a Wednesday night under the Canadian sky. On paper, it reads like a comfortable win, a top 25 seed dispatching a lower-ranked opponent with a hiccup in the middle. But if you sat inside that stadium, if you felt the electricity crackling through 17,000 voices, if you watched the way Alycia Parks loaded up that cannon of a right arm in the second set and sent serves screaming past Alexandra Eala's racket frame, you would know that this was not comfortable. This was not routine. This was a reckoning. Because 6 months ago in Melbourne, this same opponent, this same 6-foot American with the fastest serve in WTA history, obliterated Eala's Australian Open dream. Parks had blanked her in the opening set before rallying for a 0-6, 6-3, 6-2 victory in the first round. A devastating reversal that lingered, a ghost that needed exorcising. And on this humid August night in Toronto, Alexandra Eala walked onto center court knowing exactly what this match was about. Not just a second-round win at a WTA 1000 event, not just another notch on a winning streak. Revenge. The stage could not have been grander. The National Bank Open is one of the world's oldest tennis tournaments and is a WTA 1000 event played on outdoor hard courts. Running August 1-13, the 96-player field features virtually every genuine title contender on the women's tour. Jessica Pegula, Coco Gauff, Mira Andreeva, Linda Noskova, Iga Swiatek, and Amanda Anisimova round out the top 8 seeds, making Toronto the most loaded non-Grand Slam draw of the summer. This is the final proving ground before the U.S. Open. This is where form crystallizes, where reputations are cemented, where the pretenders are separated from the contenders. And right now, no one on the WTA Tour is hotter than Alexandra Eala. She captured her first career WTA Tour title at the 2026 Mubadala DC Open, becoming the first Filipina in history to win a WTA tournament. Her title run in Washington was the stuff of legend. She beat 3 seeds in 4 rounds. Number 2 seed Alina Svitolina, number 3 seed Naomi Osaka, 7 seed and defending champion Leylah Fernandez, as well as 2024 Olympic champion Zheng Qinwen on her way to the final. Then, in that rain-interrupted championship match from 6-4, 4-3 behind against Jessica Pegula, she won the last 9 games, including a 6-0 third set where she dropped just 8 points. 7 top 10 victories in a single season, a new world ranking inside the top 20 for the first time. The 20-year-old Filipina needed just 2 days to switch venues and return to winning ways in her Toronto debut. Across the net stood Alycia Parks, a woman built for occasions. Parks shares the distinction of the fastest serve in WTA history with Venus Williams at 129 miles per hour achieved at the 2021 U.S. Open. That serve is not a weapon, it is an event. When Parks connects cleanly on her first delivery, rallies end before they begin. Parks, ranked no. 71, showed resilience by taking the second set, and she carried the memory of Melbourne, that stunning January comeback, as her psychological armor. She knew she could hurt Eala. She had done it before. The question was whether the Eala who showed up in Toronto was the same young woman who crumbled in Australia, or whether Washington had changed everything. The first set answered that question in 12 devastating minutes. Eala dominated the opening set, reeling off 5 consecutive games from 1-1 to take it 6-1. She did not face a breakpoint on serve during the set and consistently pressured Parks from the baseline. The precision was surgical. Eala's court positioning sat deep on the return, neutralizing Parks' serve speed by giving herself an extra half-second of reaction time. Her backhand, that whipping left-handed stroke that has become one of the cleanest in the women's game, found angles Parks could not cover. When Eala went cross-court, she painted lines. When she redirected down the line, Parks was already moving the wrong direction, but embedded within that dominance was a warning. Eala's first serve percentage hovered around 64% for the match, a number that reveals both confidence and inconsistency. When her first serve landed, she was nearly untouchable. The placement was exquisite, wide to the deuce court to pull Parks off the baseline, then up the tee to jam her on the ad side. She won a significant majority of her first serve points, creating free points and short rallies that kept her fresh and dictated tempo. But when she missed that first delivery, the equation shifted. Her second serve lacked the same venom, and Parks, who possesses enormous turn power when given pace to work with, began finding windows of aggression. Still, in the first set, none of that mattered. Eala was a hurricane, and Parks was standing in the eye, unable to find shelter. Then the storm turned. Parks responded in the second set as the two traded service games before the American held serve in the final game to force a deciding third set. Something shifted in Parks' body language around the fourth game. Her shoulders dropped half an inch, not from fatigue, but from release. She stopped trying to match Eala's precision and started playing her own game. Bigger swings, flatter ground strokes, serves that touched 120 miles per hour and climbed higher. The crowd, initially settled into the comfortable assumption that this would be a straight-set affair, began to stir. Parks broke Eala's serve at a critical moment, and suddenly the match had a pulse. The Americans carried a strange, dangerous calm. She had been here before. In Melbourne, she had been down 0-6 against this same opponent and found a way to win. That memory was not just motivation. It was a tactical blueprint. She knew that if she could extend rallies, force Eala to play one more ball, the pressure would shift. And for 40 minutes in that second set, it worked. Parks created only 2 breakpoint opportunities in the entire match and converted both. That is the mark of a dangerous player. She did not need volume. She needed precision at the right moments. And in the second set, she found it. The crowd energy tilted. Neutral fans began pulling for the comeback. The noise grew louder on Parks' winners and quieter on Eala's. Momentum is not an abstraction in tennis. It is an audible, measurable force, and it was shifting. The second set slipped away, 6-4. Parks pumped her fist. Eala toweled off, stared at her strings, and sat down the chamberless chamber. And this is where the documentary should pause, because what happened next separates good players from champions. The ghost of Melbourne was in the building. Everyone felt it. The commentators mentioned it. The statistics flashed on screen. Eala had been in this exact position in January and lost. Down a set after dominating the first, facing a surging opponent with nothing to lose and a serve that could end any point at any moment, the storylines were aligning for a repeat collapse. But the player who stood up from that changeover chair was not the same woman who walked onto Rod Laver Arena 7 months ago. Washington had changed something fundamental inside Alexandra Eala. Not just her ranking, not just her confidence, but her understanding of pressure itself. She had come from behind against Jessica Pegula in a final with her country watching. She had won 9 consecutive games to clinch her first title. She knew now with bone-deep certainty that losing a set is not losing a match. "I think I had to take it point by point," Eala said about regrouping in the final set. Of course, I think she played really well in the second, and there were definitely things I could have done a little better. I tried to improve on that in the third. I tried to come out hot and just take all the opportunities that I could, because she doesn't really give you much, and she did exactly that. Eala took a 2-0 lead in set 3, carrying the momentum with dominant service games. Her tactical adjustment was subtle but decisive. She began targeting Parks' backhand return with heavier topspin, pulling the American into uncomfortable positions. She shortened the points on her serve, stepping inside the baseline after wide deliveries to cut off angles. On return, she crept 2 feet closer, timing Parks' second serve earlier and redirecting it deep into the corners. Parks fought back to level the set at 2-2, but Eala answered with 4 straight games to seal the victory. 4 consecutive games, no wobble, no hesitation. When it mattered most, Eala put her foot on the throat of the match and did not let go. She reached match point after her forehand forced a wide attack from Parks and finished the contest with a clinical hold at 40-0. The match lasted 1 hour and 51 minutes. The numbers tell a story of controlled aggression. Eala generated far more chances on return, earning 14 breakpoints and converting 5. A conversion rate of roughly 36%, not spectacular on the surface, but deeply revealing in context. Against a serve as powerful as Parks, simply creating 14 breakpoint opportunities is an achievement. It means Eala was consistently working her way into games, extending rallies when most players would have been aced off the court. Those 9 unconverted breakpoints? They were not wasted. They were deposits of pressure that accumulated until Parks buckled. Eala's net approaches, deployed sparingly but effectively, yielded a high success rate. She picked her moments coming forward behind sliced approaches or heavy forehands that forced Parks into defensive half-half volleys. Her court geometry, the way she constructed points from the baseline before transitioning forward, reflected a sophistication that belies her age. The rally construction was deliberate. 2 or 3 balls deep to Parks's backhand corner, then a sharp redirect to the forehand wing, then a volley or put away at the net. It was chess, not checkers. Defensively, Eala's movement was outstanding. Her lateral coverage allowed her to track down Parks' flat ground strokes and turn defense into offense with counterpunching backhands. She stayed low through her shots, absorbing pace rather than fighting it, and her recovery steps between points were quick and purposeful. The transition from defense to attack, that moment when a player shifts from surviving to dictating, happened faster for Eala than for Parks throughout the match. Yet, honesty demands acknowledgement of what still needs work. The breakpoint conversion rate, 5 of 14, reflects a broader pattern in Eala's game. She creates enormous pressure through her returning and rally play, but she occasionally lets opponents off the hook at the exact moment they are most vulnerable. Some of those 9 missed breakpoints came from overly aggressive shot selection, going for the line when the middle of the court was open. Others came from a second serve that lacked the depth and kick to set up easy putaways. At the highest level, against players like Sabalenka or Rybakina, those missed opportunities become the difference between winning and losing. The talent is undeniable. The margins are shrinking. But the final few percentage points of efficiency, converting the chances she creates, remain the gap between where Eala is and where she is heading. Still, let us not diminish the magnitude of what this victory represents. Making her debut at the National Bank Open, Eala became the first Filipino player, male or female, to win a main draw match at the tournament. She has now won matches at every WTA tournament tier, 250, 500, 1000, 2026. Her winning streak now extends to 7 matches, following victories over Jessica Pegula, Naomi Osaka, Elina Svitolina, Leylah Fernandez, and Qinwen Zheng. Read that list again. Those are not journeywomen. Those are Grand Slam champions and finalists, Olympic gold medalists, top 10 fixtures. And a 20-year-old from Manila has beaten them all in the span of 2 weeks. The win improved Eala's record against Parks to 2-1 and avenged her loss to the American at the Australian Open in January. The psychological significance cannot be overstated. Eala did not merely beat the woman who had haunted her. She beat her after absorbing the same mid-match surge that had undone her in Melbourne. She stared at the carbon copy of her worst moment, and she chose a different ending. That is maturity. That is growth. That is the DNA of a future champion. Awaiting Eala in the 3rd round is American caddy McNally. McNally is known for her aggressive playing style and strategic net play. Standing 5'11", she uses her height to generate sharp angles on serve and is one of the better volleyers in the women's game, a skill honed through years of elite doubles play, including 3 doubles titles won with Coco Gauff. Currently ranked WTA number 70, McNally is a player who can beat anyone on a given day, but whose consistency in singles has yet to match her doubles pedigree. The tactical matchup favors Eala, but not overwhelmingly. McNally's willingness to come to the net could disrupt Eala's baseline rhythm, and her serve, while not Parks-level powerful, is accurate and well disguised. McNally saves 60.2% of break points faced, meaning she is tough to break when it matters. However, she wins only 43.8% of points on her second serve, a vulnerability Eala can exploit with her aggressive return positioning. If Eala can neutralize McNally's net forays with low dipping passing shots and target that second serve with early timing, she should advance. The key for Eala will be first serve consistency. Push that 64% closer to 70, and the math becomes impossible for McNally. The American's hard court record is middling, 8-9 on the surface, and she has never reached a WTA main draw final at the tour level. Eala's current form, her confidence, and her momentum all point toward advancement, likely in straight sets. But McNally, as a doubles specialist with excellent hands, could make the 3rd round uncomfortable if Eala allows her to dictate the tempo at the net. Beyond McNally, the draw opens up intriguingly. A possible 3rd round clash with no. 6th seed and recent Wimbledon champion Linda Noskova was the matchup that caught everyone's attention when the draw was made, with the Czech having won both previous clashes against Eala in straight sets this year. That would be a different animal entirely, the kind of match that defines a tournament run. But one step at a time, one match at a time, 1 point at a time. Eala has earned the right to think that way. There is a moment in every career when a player stops being a prospect and starts being a threat. Not a pleasant surprise, not a feel-good story. A genuine pull your seedings apart, rearrange the rankings threat Alexandra Eala reached that moment on a Monday afternoon in Washington, D.C., holding a trophy in the rain. And on a Wednesday night in Toronto, she confirmed it was not a fluke. This was not just another win. This was not just another comeback. This was the match where belief hardened into identity, where the memory of Melbourne, that painful, instructive loss, was transformed from a scar into a foundation. Champions are not forged in the sets they win easily. They are revealed in the sets they lose and choose to keep fighting. If this North American hardcourt swing is any indication, a player projected to break into the world's top 20 for the first time ahead of the U.S. Open, the rest of the WTA Tour should take notice. The winning streak is at 7. The title count is at 1 and climbing. The heartbreak of Eastbourne, the devastation of Melbourne, the glory of Washington, the resilience of Toronto, they are all chapters in the same story, and the story is far from over. Eala will head to the Cincinnati Open as her final preparation before the U.S. Open. But right now, in this moment on these hard courts at Sobeys Stadium, a 20-year-old from Manila is playing the best tennis of her life. She is beating the best players in the world. She is avenging her losses. She is making history for her country. This is not the end. This is only the beginning.